Hi everyone. In this lesson, I'm going to go over the following. I'm going to go over how to wrap the whole thing out as an app. And I'll explain why I do that in a minute. And we were going to cover the order section. So at the moment, we've just got the four menus, the four meals on the menu, and that's it. You can navigate your way through it, but that's all you can do. In this one, it's going to be wrap up as an app, order, sort out the order section, and then I'll discuss what kind of things we might want in that order section. But first of all, let's look at what I'm talking about by wrapping up as an app. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the whole variable and I'm wrapping it up as an app. And then I can treat the whole thing as a variable. Now, we've got these other sections in here, which have been added in. And then we have this next section, which contains our code. So the code goes from there down to here. So if I remove that, you can see this is the part that I've added. All right. So we just add this section in. This is about initialization. That's what the initialize app is down here. So it goes to app, initializes it, use dot notation. We have this new way of doing a function. And so we have the function name, and then there is this semicolon, and then we've got a function that gives the function, and then each one of these functions are separated by a comma. So it's a bit like key value pairs. We call these like key value pairs, where the value to this key is actually a function, and the value to this key is actually a function, and the value to this key is a function which is going to contain all of our code. This stuff down here, which is to do with making an object, this function is creating the object, and you'll see that it's got an uppercase. It starts with an uppercase, and we wouldn't usually do that. We'd all have like lowercase names for the functions, but this one has an uppercase because we're making an object. And in here, we then create a variable that is an array, and in it we have these functions. So we've got yet another way of doing these functions, where we do function to do with the array, and then we're going to tag this on to give it a new value, and then we're going to tell it what it is, and it is this actual function here which calls down counter. So if I go back to where I put the code in, which is going to be here, and I put that code back in. Here's the code that we had last week, and nothing has changed there. It's just that I've added it in to this like new section. So what it does is it calls this, and then it goes back to, so where is that? That's down counter. This one's up counter, so that's going to go to down counter, and then it calls this. All right. So let's save that. Now we need to make some changes here. There's a few things that we need to do here because this hasn't been completed. We've got create the vegan object visible in the HTML files as app.vegan. So app.vegan is going to be in that HTML file, but there's still something that we need to do down here. And that's to create it. So we're going to have app dot, and we're going to call it, that's the wrong name for that. It should be vegan object, shouldn't it? Layout vegan, return vegan object. And we're going to call it vegan. So we give it its name, and then it's going to be equal, and then we're going to create a new object. And what is the name of the object? The object being created is this name here. So it's creating an object, and this is how we do it. And it's not that much code really, it's just a little bit of code, isn't it? So actually the start of the object starts here. And what it does is we create the object, we create an array, we create the functions, and then we return the object. We return this vegan object here that's inside this variable, or this function rather, and then we create a new one down the bottom here. And I'm pretty sure I've done something wrong there, and I can see that I've done something wrong here. What I need to do is I need to take that out, and I need to put it in here. Okay, so now we have got it showing up the way that it should show up. It's like I had this in the wrong place, and I had to move this around there, right? So the return there has to be just inside the object, and then just outside of that function that creates the object, we then create a new object. So that's created there. Now, in the HTML, we go to the HTML. Now, what did we say? We said that we're going to call it app.vegan. Yeah? And we're going to go to the HTML. And we're going to put that in there instead. Yeah, and it was .prev, I believe. So if the second part there is this. So the HTML is calling this, which is the new object made, and this is the new object with the new object bits in it. And these are being created. And this now is being called. So we need another one for next. If I can find it. There we go. And then that was .next. And then hopefully this should work. And it does. Look at that. Wow, it works. I do want to be able to change some things so that when it initializes, it actually initializes the menu. But now the menu is working as we would expect it to in this new wrapped up form, which we can then use like at a later time to install on an Android phone. You could install it on like another type of phone, but I'm going to install it on an Android phone. Now if we move on to the next bit of this program, we were going to sort out the section on ordering. So we have to think about, well, what's going to be involved in ordering? We're going to need an order button, some kind of submit button. We need to display the price, and we might need to calculate the VAT, so the total including the VAT. We might want to change our mind and delete the order, and we might want to return to the menu. There might be some other things that we can think of along the lines there of what other buttons we might need or we might want. So because we're just starting off at the beginning here. I'm not going to go fully into the design process like I would do with other languages. We're just getting used to doing a few things, and I'm just trying to make it a bit more exciting than learning the usual basic kind of stuff. It does help to find out about these variables and these arrays and what happens in an array, because if you're new to programming and you're looking at this, then it probably is a bit complicated for you. So, like, you know, what can you find out about arrays? You know, with arrays, usually we have things separated in with commas. Like up here, this is an array, and everything is separated with a comma. And down here, it looks completely different, doesn't it? Like, you know, and it's really confusing when you start out. But it's not so bad. Don't let it don't let it overwhelm you, because you can put anything. You can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. And before long, you'll be coding really sophisticated and fun stuff. Maybe even making some games and so forth. But right now, we're just going to do this like little task. So what other buttons and things do I need in here? Well, first of all, I think when we have like meal 1, I think I'm not too keen with that. That needs the name of the meal. So I guess we will just leave that as meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, so forth for now. And what we want is the price of it to show up down the bottom here. Yeah. So we're going to do that the same way as we've done it up here. And then we have to put in some JavaScript. So let's make the space for it. Here we've got the jump button. Next. And where is the here's the image, isn't it? Right. So if we do it beneath this one, and now we're going to put the span tag in again. And this span tag, we're going to give it an identity of what should we call it? Price, I think, would be the best thing. Yeah. So we'd call it price. And if I just put something in there to see if it comes up, yes, something comes up there. So I think what we could do over here is put in price. So we could do P, and in there we have price. What would happen if I have something in and over there? That goes underneath. So what we're going to have to do is, if we want it to go along the side, which is what I did want to do because I want to save on space, then this here, I'm going to take that out. So the span tag is nested in between, actually in the paragraph tag. Now, if I put some value in there, it should come along the side, and it does. Right. We save that. And we go to here. Now, where we're going to store the prices for this? Where are we going to store the prices? Okay, so what are we going to do? How are we going to link all of this information together? Well, I've got an array here. What if I create an array of objects and make each one of these meals an object? Right? So we make it an object by using the curly brackets. And we're using the key value pairs again. And I'm going to give them a name, and then it's going to have some variable. And we're going to put price in, and we separate it by the comma. Now we separate this by the colon. And now I'm going to put the price in. Now I'm not going to put the price in comments. I'm going to leave it as an integer. And let's just do 8.67 just for a laugh, just to see what it's like. Right, okay. Now then, if I save that, what happens? I click next and it comes up with object because we've put an object in there. But that isn't exactly what we wanted to do. So if we scroll down here, we've got the food, we've got the counter. Just one thing that we need to do is we need to use the dot notation again. And now we call name. So if we put dot name on there, it's going to give us the name. Meal 1. There it is, right? Okay. So if I put this same kind of thing in here, yeah, and let's put it just beneath this one. Or let's keep it in keeping with everything else. It's beneath the image. So let's pop it beneath the image. And instead of name, we put price. Yeah, and this here was price as well, I think. If I go up here, we called it the ID of span was price. We go back here and we've got price there. Let's save that and see what we can do. If I click the button and here it comes up with the price. So we can do that for all of them, can't we? Yeah. Let's go back to the index. And here we've got price there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a, oops, wrong pound sign. Pound sign in there. And you can see already it's like it's come up over here with the pound sign already. I can save this because that's going to make it easier for us to do the maths now, is the fact that this up here is, it's not an integer, it's floating point. It's a numerical value. But so now we're going to do the rest with the same thing. We're going to turn them into objects. And we make this an object and we do name. And we add in there price. We do the same for this one, price, name and price. So name, colon, and then we separate it with the comma there, and then we have price, and then we give it a price, let's say 7.24. And we do the same with this one here. And we have name and price, and this time it's going to be 750, and it's meant to be a decimal there. And this has come up here. It's not initializing like the way that I want it. We're going to sort out the initialization in a moment. But let's just get this working first. So here we have the first one. That works all right. And then meal 2. Yep, it happens. Meal 3, meal 4 comes up as like... It doesn't come up with the whole number. So we'll have to look that up and find out what to do there. And then we go back and it just goes round. So we've got an array of objects, and that's pretty cool because then we can like just add stuff to the array. Yeah. So that's sorting that out. Now we want a button on there to say, yeah, okay, I want to select this meal. And I think that that's the way to go, is we have select. So underneath this one, if we have a button, and that button is we have to give it type button, don't we? Type button. I could have submit, can I? And like reset there. Can we see, if we zoom in there, these options that are coming up here is giving us some clues for like later on. Now I could have submit. And submit I would tend to use for submitting something to a server somewhere. It's gonna submit it to some server, or it's gonna do some other thing. And reset, that could be like our cancel button. Maybe that would work. There was cancel. But we'll just have button for now and see what we can do with that. So now we've got the button type. And on click, what's it going to do? If we take on click, whoops. On click, it's gonna do something. Well, what's it gonna do? Select. Actually, that's the name that we want, isn't it? It's there. Select order. Select meal. How about add to order? That would be better. Add to order. Okay, we're going to need somewhere to display what we've had. So now, if we put, I think I want to keep all of that together. No, I don't. I do want to put that in another div tag, because like that might make it easier once I start doing things with CSS. So anyway, put this in there, and now we're going to have some kind of output. So that's going to be span. We've got to give it some ID. What's it doing? Output. Let's do display. Order. Okay, we keep them descriptive because it makes it so much easier, doesn't it? Like, you know. And if I just type some stuff in there, we'll see if it's kind of come up. Right, yeah, it has come up. Now, what I want to do is, when I click this add order, I want it to take this price and add it down here. And then I want to be able to select another order. So let's save that. And now I'll go back to the JavaScript. And I'm going to come down here to where the buttons are. And I'm going to put a button in. So I'm just going to take that and just copy. So I'm going to pop that in. And now what we're going to call it? Add meal, right? Now, I think we don't want it to go up counter. We want it to do something else, don't we? We're going to So what's the name of this function? What should we call it? It's adding something to the order. So I guess add to order. Add to order. Now we're going to take this and we're going to move up here, and under this function here we're going to add our new function in. Function, and it was add to order. And now what's the code going to be inside of this function? What are we going to put in there? We want it to display something. So what have we been doing before to display stuff? We've been doing this kind of stuff up here. It's adding stuff in by an element, isn't it? So here where we've got like name and price, name and mails, let's take a copy of that and pop that in there. Now, what was the ID? There's the ID, display order. And we come back here and we put that in there, display order. Now, what we want it to do is display the price. Okay. It's not complete because we needed to do more than that, don't we? So now if I do add the order, it doesn't work for some reason. I know what it is, because we haven't done the on click, have we? So on click we start off with the vap.vegan. So it was app.vegan, and then we have another dot. Now what's it going to be? It was the name of the function is add to order. Actually, we don't want that one, do we? We want add meal. We do add meal. Now, let's see what happens if we try. And we add to order, and there it is, right? It's like popped up there. Obviously, it like needs to be tidied, but like if I add another one to it, what happens there? Nothing. And I add another one, and nothing has happened. If I do the next order, it just changes it. It hasn't actually added it to something. So we need to build a table to put it in, and you know, building that table and then doing the calculations on the table is what we're going to cover in the next video. So that's it for right now. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Come check out my channel. Say hello in the comments. Ask questions. And see if we can solve a few problems.